Hey, Coach. Well, I'm so happy you found us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell up above. We put out content just about every day. Also, go down below and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. If you're looking to become a better basketball coach, you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking for resources, teachhoops.com is the answer for you. Go over and check it out and have a great day.
Okay. All right. Welcome to Coaching Youth Hoops. That might be a record. We only talked for like an hour before we started doing our podcast today.
Might be. Well, that's because we talked for 2 hours earlier this week.
Yeah.
Before we did the.
We got everything out of the. Yeah. Get everything out of the.
Still, we could probably talk for another 2 hours.
I was telling Coach I have strep throat, so I feel like I'm 12. So
Yeah, actually, I mean, if you wouldn't have said anything, I wouldn't have known. So it's coming.
It was I had to take a mental health day, teaching wise, for like, okay, we're gonna watch we're gonna watch a video rather than it used to be like used to be TV and then it used to be film strips or whatever it used to be in the old days, but nope.
Yeah.
Coach's voice was shot too, but.
And you have all seniors, right, in your class?
I do. There's 29 when we're when we're taping this. There's 29 school days left. So
they're done.
You can put a fork in them.
Yeah.
And it used to bother me, but then I had an experienced teacher tell me early in my career when I was teaching seniors, I was in the copy room and she goes, Steve, post spring break, anything you can get that in their brains in the 50 minutes you have them in class is a win.
Yeah, I bet.
You're not getting much after that 50 minutes. Outside of school, they're scared, their life's changing, their school, it's like, so she goes, just try to get what you can get in that 50 minutes and then walk out of the school feeling like you did a good job.
Isn't that nice though, when you were a kid, to have those blocks of time? Okay, I just have to get through Thanksgiving break.
Yes.
Right. Then I got to get to Christmas.
Well,
break.
I've had that my spring break. Career.
I mean, you do, but
I know
a regular
in the weird
non-teacher does not.
Well, and the weird part is you have a start and an end to your job.
Correct. There's something beautiful about that.
There is beautiful. It's all in early. It was very sad, and I'm not as sad as I used to be. But it's like, yeah, I'm not sure. I think it might make retirement easier.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through a bunch of mini retirements every summer. Like,
right.
And you end and you go and you go on your life and you fill it up with time and then you start over again. I just, in August, at some year, I just will be in New York or visiting somebody. I don't know.
You'll have an extended time off, vacation.
That'll be a long, that'll be a long one. Then we'll be working on Coaching Youth Hoops. And what else? That's a perfect lead in. Pat myself in the back. I could be going to do a clinic. Couldn't I, Coach?
You could be
a perfect lead in.
Could be.
So how is that a lead in? Explain to the listeners.
So hey, coaches, Steve and I decided this year we are going to do a clinic giveaway. So here's how this works. You're going to go to coachingyouthhoops.com/clinic. And if you're part of a youth organization, you and all of your coaches in your organization will fly out to you and do a clinic. And we're going to walk you through the preseason, during season, how to optimize practice, how to get more out of every player, how to implement a defense, offense for your entire coaching staff. So go to coachingyouthhoops.com/clinic.
So and there's other you can also win an IC3, a shooting machine. You can also win a personal subscription to Coaching Youth Hoops. You'll get, and if you sign up, you're going to get something. You're going to get our online clinic, right, Coach?
Yeah, a preseason online clinic.
Preseason online clinic for free.
It's shorter, but it's going to be all free.
And then we've been charging for it. It's awesome. So, and what else do we have? Do we have something else? I think we have something else.
We do. This one I'm pretty excited about. We are launching an entirely new Coaching Youth Hoops platform. That will give you dynamic basketball plans. You can tailor them to your teams. You can tailor them, to your organizations as well. Add drills, take away drills. It'll come preloaded with age-appropriate practice plans, so you can get a good head start, and then you can tweak them from there. That will launch this fall, so you got to get on the waiting list now. If you go to coachingyouthhoops.com/waitlist.
And if you
Again,
get on, Coach always gives a discount for the
I
early.
always give a discount. That's right.
He gets
Coaches,
yelled at by
you have
Coach
to
Collins.
thank me because Coach
Yes.
Collins was like, no.
I need to save
Oh.
money so I can go to Disney World. I'm wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt.
Dude,
So,
yeah.
and if anyone's ever
That's for
been to
sure,
Walt
though.
Disney World, you basically have to take a second mortgage out. So, you
Yeah.
know, I'm saying don't give discount. But anyway, it's fine.
We're teasing. We're teasing.
teasing.
Of course we
We're-
will.
Of
Yeah.
course, we'll give you a discount. All right. So, what's today's topic, Coach?
We're going to talk about constraints and how do you make your practices and your drills a little bit more dynamic. And I've recently gone through a transformation over the last couple of years, and I've seen a huge change in my players and the output of my players.
Okay, there was a
went,
joke. There was a joke there when you
yeah.
said you went through a transformation. I think both of us have gone through transformations over the last 10 years. Not perfect ones, though, around the waist. I'm going, I don't like that transformation, getting a little less hair.
Right, a little less hair, a little
Okay, I'm sorry.
grayer.
I'm sorry. That
Right.
was just it was too big of an opening for my stand-up, from my old stand-up
Sure,
days.
stand up. Yeah.
It
Hey,
was
yeah,
too-
yeah. I was gonna say maybe there's a career in that after you retire from being a teacher.
I'm not going back to stand-up, but go ahead. It was good. It was funny. There are some teachers that do stand-up that are really funny if you follow them on TikTok. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about constraints and how you can apply constraints. And we talked a little bit about it here and there for the last year or so, but I'm doubling down on a constraint focused practice. And what does that mean? That literally means putting your players under different game-like situations. And so let me give you an example. A simple drill. We'll break the blitz attack offense down into the quarter court. And then we'll start working on we might go 3 versus 1, and then 3 versus 2, then 3 versus 3. Okay, so that's one constraint. Well, first constraint is the quarter court. Second constraint is the number of defenders. Third constraint might be, and you can only score off of a layup, right? Or you can only score off of the person who's doing the ball handoff. You can only score off a dive.
Right.
And then another constraint might be the defense can score if they get a deflection. Right.
So I think coaches have been doing this forever. At least I have.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you look for in a constraint? Like, I've always done this with my drills because, to be honest with you, I'm a teacher and kids will get bored if I do the same stuff. So
yeah,
in a roundabout way, I was always doing this just for variation, but it was also a teaching thing. So what do you look for in constraints? What is your, I don't know, your magic button for that as far as looking for a constraint?
I'm gonna get to that question, but I'm gonna come at it in a different way. This whole idea of constraints really, really hit home with me when I was processing. There's two things kids always want to do when they get into the gym: shoot threes and scrimmage. Okay, so when I walk in,
yes, not playing any defense. I agree.
Yeah. So when I walk into the gym and I put the balls out and they're all excited, they all grab a ball and they go shoot threes. I don't care if they're third grade, they're trying to shoot threes, right? Second thing they ask then, right after that, is, Coach, are we scrimmaging today?
Always,
yeah,
always.
That's what I said. I
always
said
ask that.
we always scrimmage. That's our whole practice, right? And so I was thinking about this. It's like, okay, those are the things that they want to do. And then I was thinking more about the scrimmage stuff. So how can we scrimmage for an entire practice? Right. And I'm like, oh, the best way to do that is by adding constraints. Well, then the argument always is, well, what if they don't know how to do X? What if they don't know how to shoot in third grade and you got to work through that? And how can you add constraints to it when they don't even know how to shoot? They're going to learn how to shoot, right? And you still work on some of those fundamental things, but I think you spend less time and put them into real application, because 1-on-0 doesn't really get you too much, and it breaks down in the game. I mean, how many times have we heard in the Facebook group, I'm so frustrated because in a roundabout way, coaches are saying my practice doesn't translate to the games.
No, and what I tell coaches too when they ask about this, anybody, like, you can always do 1-on-0 because it's always you and a ball and a basket. Like, I never worry. Like, I say, that's fine. That bucket can be over here. You can do that after dinner, after you've done your chores, before school, because you can always get a bucket and a ball on you. The other issue is how do we change that to get more game like? So that's sometimes you have to do, because it's just you and the ball, and you have to use your imagination, and you don't have those other people there, and it's you.
That's right. Yeah.
So I get that. But yes, I agree. Part of that is like, what are the constraints and how do you build? And I think you mentioned something about letting them pick constraints sometimes too.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So one of the things, we created this drill the other day. I've always done this drill, but then I asked them, well, how can we make it quote unquote more fun, or how can we add more constraints to it? So with my younger youth teams, we call it Queen of the Court. There's probably other names for it, but we put them all in the key, and they're dribbling. Everybody's dribbling inside the key, running around, but they're trying to knock the ball out of someone's hand, their teammate's hand, right? And if they knock the ball outside of the key, right, that person is out. Okay, so that was the traditional drill. So then I said to them, and that's how we teach dribbling, right? It's dribbling under pressure. And then I asked them, well, how can we make this, like I said, a little bit more interesting? So and I had them break up into groups of 3 to come up with ideas. So now they have ownership in the practice. Now they have ownership in that drill. Now they always want to do that drill, because now for them, it's quote unquote fun, because they came up with these additional ideas. Number 1. So now if I knock Steve's ball out of the key, I have to go shoot a layup. If I miss the layup, you're back in and I'm out. So it puts pressure on me making the layup.
I love that.
Right? So it puts pressure there. Then let's say I knock your ball out, I make my layup, you have a buy-in, going to another court and age appropriate shooting a free throw or a 3. So as the kids get older, I let them shoot a 3. If you make it, now you're back in.
Right.
Right. And then there's other little things. You have to move. You can't stay in one spot for too long, or else you're going to sink into quicksand, that type of thing. So you constantly have to move around. But just taking those, the kids came up with those ideas and those concepts. So it adds constraints to it. It's a little bit more pressure based.
Right. And I think you can think about, like, I'll use a high school example. Maybe there's a team that really loves driving baseline. Well, all my constraints and all my stuff is going to be, how can we stop that? Or maybe there's a person in our league that's 6'11". He's a pretty good player. So maybe everything is about how we stop that 6'11" kid when he catches the ball, or how we deal with this, or so your constraints
can base it off a scouting report.
It can be specific. Now at the youth level, that's not always the case. But we all know those couple of kids in our league that it's like, okay, we got to stop that kid. So maybe our constraints can be based around that. I don't think they should just be random constraints. Sometimes they have to be.
Correct.
But if you can make them
Well, it's
more
what you want to
specific,
emphasize, right?
it is. It
So
is.
just imagine just a simple 3-and-3 drill. 3 players, right? So think about the number of constraints you could possibly have in there. And you can do the, we talked about this. I don't know if we didn't talk about this in the podcast, but you and I were talking about this off air. You could literally have just one 3-and-3 drill, come
Right.
up with you could, that's the only thing you could do in an hour practice, but based on the number of constraints, it could look like a
And
completely
I wouldn't
different
do that because
drill
they would get
each
bored.
time.
They would get bored with that if you
Correct.
only did
But
that. I wouldn't do that. But yes, you could.
right. So you can emphasize defense scoring, you can emphasize offense scoring, you can emphasize how you score, you can emphasize how the defense scores, you can emphasize how many passes you have to make before you can score, right? You can limit the number of dribbles, right? 0 dribbles, multiple dribbles. You could say, okay, you can only score off of a ball screen, right? You can only score off of a ball screen and you got to hit the roller, right? So there's all of those kinds of options that you can do. And I actually created a list. It's not done yet,
It's
but
almost like a flow chart kind of thing with the
it
bubbles.
is.
Go here
Yeah.
and then you can go there and then you can go
Hmm.
here. And
That's right.
that's
Yeah. Hmm.
so I love that. I love that aspect. All right. Anything else with constraints, coach?
Well, and I think what you have to do, coach, is, you have to make them age appropriate. But the other thing that I do is I also, if we're doing like a traditional fundamental drill, like we do this 2-on-2 drill, and the kids have to go around cones. If I see a matchup that maybe favors one or the other, I'll adjust the cone. So the person that's better than the other person has got to work a little harder, right, to maybe then balance out that discrepancy. Sometimes I'll
Right.
do that, right? Sometimes I'll just let them, hey, that's how the other person who's not as good is going to get better. But you can then adjust cones in the position of cones as well. So what I would encourage you to do is be creative and look at a traditional drill or one of your favorite drills. One, ask the kids, hey, how can we build? How could they don't know what constraints necessarily are, but how
How
can we
can we
add to this
change this
drill?
drill? Yes. How can we
Yeah.
make obstacles in this drill? You can use other
Hmm.
words other than
Other
constraints.
words, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then I would challenge you to think of taking your favorite drill, but adding different variations to that one single drill, so it's harder, easier, it's varied, right? It's not the same every practice, but you also don't have to. That's the other thing with the constraints based. Coaches, you have an hour. A lot of coaches only have an hour in the practice. I'm implementing some new drills that I want to do because I'm kind of changing my basketball practice. And I spent probably 5 minutes explaining what I thought was a very simple drill. It was a brand new drill. They've never done it before, right? I spent 5 minutes or more just explaining the drill. You can't do that every practice. So by
No.
moving the constraints, it keeps the drill
Right.
fresh,
Yes.
right?
And keeps
So,
it different. Okay.
and it
Anything
keeps it
else,
different.
coach? What are give
Nope.
those shout out on those URLs again?
Hey, coaches. Yeah, absolutely. We really want to come out and do a coaches clinic for you and your
We'll show you
group.
lots of constraints in our clinic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll dive deep into that. And Coach Collins is going to share his experiences and how he got to 3 state titles, Coach of the Year, and what was you're the Hall of Fame, right? Wisconsin Hall of Fame too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you got my
Yeah.
memo.
So
Thank you for throwing that
yeah,
out
that's right.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
So he's going to share all his experiences there. And then, so go over to coachingyouthhoops.com/clinic. Get on that list. We're going to, the winner we're going to pick in October. And, hopefully we can find a time to come out to you in early November to do that clinic. The next thing is, we're launching a brand new dynamic basketball practice platform. So you can get on that early list now if you sign up now, we promise there'll be a little discount for you. You'll get first peek at all their new tools that are coming out. Probably get some free content in there that
Yeah,
you
you
can't
never
get
know.
unless you get on that list. So you can go sign up coachingyouthhoops.com/wait list.
All right, till next week.
Till next week.
Hey, Coach, so glad you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe and like. Second all, go check teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Let me help you put banners and stuff in your gym and become a nationally ranked coach, win more games in less time. Teachhoops.com is a community that will allow you to do that. Go over and check it out, and go check the next video out. Bye.